welcome back to another week of What's for Dinner. I hope you will find some yummy meal inspiration, some things that you might be able to add to your meal plan that are quick, easy, do not lack in flavor. Those are the things that you're going to see today here. So just stay tuned. Let's get on into the video now. Okay, this first recipe was inspired by these crispy onions. I have just a little bit in my bag that I want to get used up, and I had some chicken. So I decided that I was going to look around for some recipes where I could incorporate those in a chicken dish, and I kind of came up with, I think, a pretty good recipe here. So I am going to call this a crispy French onion chicken. So I have one very large boneless skinless chicken breast that I have sliced thinner. I've come up with a few pieces here from one large chicken breast, and then I'm going in with some Trader Joe's onion salt, some garlic powder, and some black pepper to season these up on both sides, and then I'm going to fry them up in my skillet. I'm cooking these up about 3 to 5 minutes per side. You want to get the chicken pretty much done. You do not want to overcook it though, because it has a little bit more cook time here in the skillet once we put in the beef broth. But you want to start getting that cooked up. Look at this nice color it's developing by frying up here in the skillet. Next, I'm going to pour in some beef broth. I just have the dry beef bouillon base. I just mix that in with 1 cup of water per package directions. I'm just pouring that in here. I'm going to put the heat down a little bit lower. I'm going to cook these, I'd say, another 4 or 5 minutes on each side, and I just keep turning those so all of that beef flavor will be soaking into that chicken. And then for my side, I'm using this mushroom risotto from Trader Joe's. And I'm going to use these extra fine green beans from Aldi. These are going to be the sides to go along with tonight's dinner. Everything is in full swing here. I've got this delicious beef broth that's simmering here with this chicken, and I'm just going to scoop some of the extra out and put that over my green beans. I have those frying up in some butter and onions you saw there. So I'm just going to add a little bit to this to add some additional flavor, because I have plenty here in the pan. And then I'm just going to continue pouring it over the chicken by spoonfuls like I have been the whole time. And it just reduces down and makes a really delicious sauce here for this chicken. Okay, I have topped my chicken here with shredded pepper jack cheese, and I'm just spooning some of that delicious reduction. You can tell how much it's reduced down on the top to help get that cheese melted. I'm sure you could use whatever cheese that you preferred, but I wanted the pepper jack. And then I'm just going in with a nice big handful of those crispy French fried onions and pressing those down in so they can just start working together to make this delicious cheesy crunchy topping for this chicken. To carry this flavor through is the crispy onions added to the green beans, which I always do that. I love having the crispy onions in green beans anytime I make them. And so I have just added those here at the last to these green beans. All right, it's almost time to plate these up. I went ahead and threw in a little pat of butter and put some garlic, salt, and pepper, and I'm putting some Parmesan cheese. I'm just going to toss that around right before I put it on the plate. These are so delicious. It was really great with this meal. Also, the Trader Joe's mushroom risotto was absolutely delicious. That was our first time to try it, and James has already gone back and put a couple more bags of those in the freezer. It was creamy and delicious. And then the crispy French onion chicken, the flavor on that was so good. I will definitely make that again. We enjoyed this whole meal, everything paired together just perfectly. Be sure and look in the description box below for the recipe. For this next night's dinner, believe it or not, these delicious, amazing ribeyes that James grilled were not the star of the show. And I know that's hard to believe, but I'm going to show you this side dish that was so delicious. I'm so glad I found this recipe, and you're going to want to make it too if you like onions. So let's get started on this side. All right, this cheesy, delicious onion side dish is called Tennessee onions. And the star of the show are these Vidalia onions that are so delicious and sweet. I love Vidalia onions. We are big onion fans around here. And so I knew this recipe was a must try. Make sure you look in the description box below for the recipe. I'll have it linked. And like I said, if you like onions, you have to try this. It is so good. It's really great served with the steak like we did it tonight. It was just a perfect pairing. So I'm getting these onions all sliced up, and I'm going to get them in my pan to start frying up. Now, while the onions are frying up in the butter in the pan there, I am going to start working on the cheese portion. Now, I am using a little bit less cheese than the recipe called for. It called for a cup of a really good sharp cheddar, a cup of mozzarella, and a half a cup of Parmesan. That felt like a lot of cheese for the 2 onions that I had, so I reduced down just a little bit, but I'm using this really yummy white cheddar from Aldi. If you haven't tried this from there, it's really good. So I'm just kind of, cutting that up, rough chop. It's gonna melt over the top. And then instead of mozzarella, I am gonna use pepper jack cheese. I thought that sounded good. And then of course my Parmesan. Now I will say I converted this recipe over to do a skillet recipe as opposed to baking in the oven, just because I didn't want to heat up my kitchen with the oven today, and I knew I could pull this one off on the skillet as well. So this is the skillet way. You can definitely bake it in the oven, and I'm sure I will at some point. And I'm just going to start turning these onions here to make sure all the sides are going to start caramelizing up here in the pan. The recipe suggests some oregano or any other herbs of your choice for seasoning and garnish. I decided to go with this jalapeno salt that we have. It's a really good flavor. It's not too spicy, but it has a good flavor. And then I'm going to do some garlic powder and some parsley. The other side, I decided to do a garlic mashed potato instead of a baked potato. So my potatoes are the Yukon Gold. They are cooked up and drained. I'm just adding in some butter and some garlic powder, a little bit of parsley, some onion salt, and some sour cream. And this is just to taste. So you just add it in, stir it around, taste it. I left these kind of chunky, and this side was so good. James said he thought these were just over the top delicious potatoes. Right, we're in the home stretch here with these onions. I popped a lid on just to help those to kind of get tender because everything else was just coming along. And so I took the lid off, gave them the final stir, and then we are going to go in here with this delicious cheese. Pop the lid back on just to get the cheese to melt, and these are going to be done. about how delicious these were. I will make these again soon. I know my whole family will love these. This whole meal went together so good, and because these steaks were so huge and one of them was kind of crackly, we decided to just go ahead and cut it all off the bone, get it all plated up without that so we could fit our other things on the plate. I'm not kidding, this was so good. Probably the favorite meal, although everything was delicious. This one was delicious. I will definitely make all of this again. Tonight's dinner was inspired by this orange stir-fry sauce that I bought at Aldi a couple of weeks ago, and I just decided I haven't made a big sort of stir-fry Asian meal in a while, and I decided that's what I was going to make on this night. This was family night, and all of us enjoy that style of food, so I haven't made that in a long time. So into my skillet here, I am just browning. I think this was 4 large boneless skinless chicken breasts that I cubed up, and I'm just browning this up in some olive oil, and then I just poured in that orange sauce over top, so basically making an orange chicken. I used the whole bottle. I'm going to stir this all together so all the chicken can get coated. I'm going to turn the heat down to very low and just let this kind of sit here and warm together. Now I'm moving on to my fried rice. I have some onion and garlic here in the bottom of my pan. I'm going to add some more oil to that because now it's time to add in the rice. Earlier in the day, I cooked up some jasmine rice, let that become cold. It works much better when it is because it doesn't get as gummy that way. So I'm going to add this all to the pan, and I'm also going to add in a little bit of dry chicken bouillon, the little chicken base that I love to use. I'm going to put some of that over the top. You don't want to go too heavy because it is salty. And then I'm using some low sodium soy sauce. That's going to go in over the top. Again, you can always add more later, but you can't take it out. So don't go overboard with either of those. And then I'm adding in my peas and carrots here. I have showed making fried rice on my channel before, but I'm going to go ahead and show you today just how I'm quickly putting together this fried rice. It's very easy and so delicious. So we're going to get this all stirred and let this continue to cook together. All right, now it's time to add in the scrambled eggs. This is how I always do mine. I just make a little well there in the center. I already have my eggs scrambled up, or at least most of the time. Sometimes I put them in there without being scrambled. But I'm just adding a little butter there, and I'm going to put in my eggs. I'm just going to kind of move those around, scramble them up, let them cook, and then I'll mix them all in. Last thing I put into my fried rice, basically when it's almost done, I put in my sesame oil and stir that all around, about a couple tablespoons. That's such a great flavor when you're making fried rice. For our veggies, I just stir-fried together some carrots, onion, and broccoli in the pan first. I didn't have a whole lot of broccoli, but I just put in what I had left. And then to that, after this kind of sautés a little bit together first, because those take a little longer, I'm going to add in a bunch of fresh zucchini. So that's going in next. And then I'm going to season it up with a little bit of pepper, garlic powder, and some soy sauce. And we're going to get that all stirred around. It makes a very quick and easy stir-fry veggie, which is great to add to your Asian meal. We did not have any spring rolls or egg rolls, so James said, I'm going to stop at Trader Joe's and see what they have. So he brought home 3 boxes of these Kahlua pork spring rolls. They were amazing. And he picked up a big bag of these pot stickers. I did both of these in the air fryer, and they were the perfect additions to this Asian meal. Here's a look at our great big delicious Asian buffet. We had a delicious meal. Everything was so good. The kids loved it all so much and just went on and on about how good it was. So this was another yummy night's dinner. Also for family night, we had delicious dirt pudding. So I'm gonna call this dessert time with Henry because he helped me make it. So let me show you what we did.
I'm just making some dirt pudding with my Gigi. It's tasting so good so far.
What's your job right now?
My job is to stir it in, and right there is where all the dirt is.
Here's all the dirt, and he crushed all those up for us with his handy dandy crusher.
It's really this actually Oreos.
It's true.
Not
Do you think everyone will be tricked?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna keep stirring. All right, Henry, what do we have done so far?
We have done the Oreos, and now I'm just flattening this out.
Okay, so we have the bottom crust of Oreos. And this is our pudding and our cream cheese.
And then we're going to do the
and
other
our Cool Whip. Yep. He's a good smoother outer.
I'm just going like on the side and it's actually working.
Yeah, looks great.
You use the very tip of it to get the very, very hard part. That. Hi, I'm just eating all this.
Oh, what's on your nose?
Pudding. Pudding.
Pudding.
Right there is where we have our pudding dirt.
That's right. Now, before we show them our final product, we're just kind of making sure we get all this leftover pudding out of the bowl, aren't we?
And I'm the cleaner.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yep, doing it. He's doing it. We're not gonna waste it, are we? No, sir.
We're gonna eat it.
Ooh, yeah. You worked hard for that.
Okay, guys, we just got done with this, and also make sure to like and subscribe this video. And make sure to get Gigi to 112 likes and subscribers.
Sounds good to me.
Uh-huh.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Alright guys, thanks for watching. That concludes this week's video. If you liked it, would you give me a big thumbs up? That helps out my channel a lot. If you haven't subscribed, just hit the red subscribe button. It is free. That way, every time I'm in the kitchen, you can be in the kitchen with me. Alright guys, I'll see you the next time. Good Lord willing and the creek don't rise. Bye.